You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Parenthood After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Parenthood After Show.
Welcome everybody back to Parenthood. We are here doing Season 5, Episode 17, Limbo. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. Yes, I am engineering from the booth today, but if you're listening on iTunes, it really doesn't matter. With me, I have my two beautiful co-hosts. Go on and introduce yourselves.
I'm Danica Kennedy.
And I'm Elena Jordan.
Welcome back, ladies. Okay, this episode, craziness. What did you think of it overall? What were your overall thoughts first?
I really liked that the Parenthood writer gods heard Elena's request to have more scenes with Drew and Amber together. Yay!
Yeah,
What did
I'm
you
going to
think?
pretend like that was all my doing.
Yes.
Yes,
It was all
it
because
was.
of you. They
The
heard.
past 3 episodes, there's been a lot of Amber, Drew
They have great
scenes,
chemistry
and they're
together
awesome.
on camera.
Yeah, I agree. And we had, sorry, I'm pulling double duty here. We had some nice scenes with a lot of siblings. I felt like it was a lot of one-on-one scenes with each other. And crazy episode. Let's just get started with Amber and Andrew being all brotherly and sisterly. What did you think of them?
Some
Just
sibling bonding.
Oh yeah, lots of sibling bonding time together. What did you think of them just like going over all their relationship problems and just
I
dealing
love
with life?
them. I just love their dynamic.
Yeah, me
Anytime they're on
too.
screen together, it's just awesome.
Especially since we know that they're roommates in real life and
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
friends. That makes it so much better for some reason. I also loved how they wrote that scene, how they were just venting about their problems, but not really, saying anything about
Listening
each other's
to each
problems
other,
or
but
listening. They're just
not
both
really.
yelling. You need that sometimes.
I agree. And so pretty much Drew is having problems back at college with his roommate Berto and Natalie. Okay, so we start the episode. Drew's reading this what seems like a depressing kind of book, but it makes him kind of miss Natalie. He's looking at pictures of her on her phone. He decides to go over to her dorm, and who else is actually there?
Berto.
Berto.
I'm not the biggest fan of,
I'm
gotta
not the
say.
biggest fan of Natalie either. I'm like, the two
Yeah.
of you, do whatever. Go away.
Slutty,
I
gross,
agree.
college kids, go. They should have sex with each other. Go,
Yeah, do whatever you
do
want.
your thing.
And you know what? And Drew wasn't happy about it. He seemed jealous.
Well, Amy was living with him for almost a month, which was really weird.
Which
so I can kind of
Berto
see
brought up,
where
and when
they're coming
Natalie
from.
comes over and confronts him, she brings up the same thing.
Like, that was
Yeah.
almost a month long, so I kind of get where they're coming from, but I'm
Yeah.
also like,
But
you guys are
talk
disgusting.
talk to him first.
Dirty.
These people have severe problems with communication, and that does not go over well with a Braverman.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like some of them do. Some of the Bravermans have really good communications, and some of them don't. And some of them who actually do have good communication, their message gets all misconstrued, and the whole phone tree happens, and then we'll get to that. But so yeah, Berto's sleeping with Natalie. Natalie brings up a good point that, like, hey, you had your girlfriend here for a month. You're in and out. We don't know where they stand with their relationship. I thought Natalie was gone, but yeah, she's still here. I mean,
I think she's gross.
I think she's so gross. Berto's so gross too. When she walks in and he's like, "Oh, Drew's bummed out, so I'm gonna have to pass."
oh yeah,
Like, gross. Everything he says, I'm just like, you were disgusting. And Natalie, you were gross to begin with, but now that you're having anything to do with him,
It made me think that Natalie was grosser.
Yeah.
That she slept with him, too. I was kind of like, ooh,
yeah,
negative points for you.
done.
I think the thing with Berto is just he likes everything that Drew has, and we find out that Drew he's been borrowing everything of Drew's and like doesn't realize those boundaries between roommates and stuff. And then Drew he gets upset and he's the more passive aggressive kind of thing. But he does point it out that dude, it's of all the people to sleep with, why Natalie? You know, I was kind of with her first, and I can understand where Drew got upset with that.
I said
Good
don't fuck
thing.
your friends. Like your
Yeah.
friends, or your best friends or your roommates' exes. You know, that's
There's
kind
an
of just off.
unspoken rule. Exes are off the
limits.
table.
It's that like
Roommates.
bro code.
There could
kinda.
be
Yeah.
But I wouldn't really call them
exceptions every
bros
once
yet.
in a while, maybe.
It doesn't
but
matter
as an
if they're
overall
bros or not.
rule-
They live together.
Yeah, I think Drew should just go to an RA and say, hey, who can I talk to about switching roommates? Maybe he needs a better roommate.
He now has a better roommate, though. Ultimately,
Yeah.
at the end of the episode, he ends up saying he's going to move in with Amber.
I think that's smart because
That's the perfect
how
solution.
can Amber afford that apartment all by herself? It makes me question that. Did she really get that paid that much at the luncheonette? I don't think
I
It's
so.
doubt
not that
it.
great of an apartment, though. They always talk about how it's in a bad neighborhood.
No,
Even though she
yeah,
leaves the
that's
door
true.
open all the time. And this, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
a
LA, San
tangent.
Francisco, New York, you can pay a lot of money for a really shitty
That's true.
apartment,
Yeah.
pretty much.
I
That's
agree.
true.
But, you know, I am glad that Drew is moving out and he's going to move in with Amber. I think that's a safer choice. Yeah, he might be in a shady area, but at least he's with family and his sister who will always be there for her. So, yeah, I mean, that was really, and then they get together and they're, you know, just going over their life problems and relationships, and they end up getting stoned and drinking and
Yeah,
stuff.
while
That was-
dealing with those problems, I mean, they might as well. I loved that scene.
I
That
just
was my
thought it was
favorite scene.
weird
in
that
the whole
Amber's
thing.
randomly like, and surprise, I have a baggie of weed in my freezer. Like,
They
he didn't-
would make her the stoner, though, out
But
of
he
everyone.
didn't see that when he got the ice cream. Like, he was just like, what? Where did this weed come from? Like, you were just in the freezer. It's a small freezer.
Okay, is that
See,
a thing to keep weed in the freezer?
I-
Because
I
that's
wouldn't
news
know.
to me, and I feel like I would be pretty aware of that if that was a thing.
Well, I
don't
wouldn't.
know.
Honestly, I thought they were just smoking regular cigarettes, and then I found that, like, I'm like, they're acting a little bit more drunk, and then I saw the alcohol. Okay, maybe they're just drunk, but I guess they were stoned because they were eating ice cream. Once I saw the
Both.
ice cream, I kind of knew that they were really, really
They were-
stoned.
Well, they were messed up enough that they had to take a cab, or they're like, oh, we have to make sure they're
Yeah,
very
they couldn't even
responsible on the
drive.
show.
Well, I'm glad that they took a cab to the
That is good.
the family
to the
function.
family dinner. I mean, we'll get there, but
I
yeah.
like
So
how the aunts and
well,
uncles
Amber
called
had
them out
problems
later
with
at the
drinking and
dinner.
driving
Yeah.
before, too. So that was good that they
She
were
has to
like,
play it
let's
safe.
make sure that this isn't an issue.
yeah, and I thought that was good. That very smart on there. It was like Amber's already had that problem before. They can't go, and I'm glad they didn't drive themselves because they were
There's
in no
more-
state
yeah,
to drive.
yeah.
We do not condone drunk driving,
No.
but we do condone another show. Maria Menounos, our great creator, executive producer of AfterBuzz, she has a new reality show coming out, and you know what? We're gonna hear a little bit about her, so let's go to it.
Tuesdays on Oxygen.
I'm Maria Menounos, and my life can get a little crazy. I host Extra. I'm an actor, producer, dancer, wrestler, and a lot of other things. I live with Kevin, my boyfriend of 15 years. Do you really love me?
I would say that I'm in serious like.
And my parents. Yep, I just said I live with my parents.
You drive me crazy.
You drive me crazy. My parents want us to get married.
You both love each other. Get married.
Kevin and I don't. I am gonna get married when I want to get married. I think I want kids. Kevin definitely doesn't want them now.
This is being pushed onto us.
And of course, my parents wanted them yesterday.
This year you gotta have it.
And I have a house full of people counting on me financially.
If I take my eye off the ball, everything can fall apart.
It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or wants us to do. It's what we want to do.
Everyone thinks that they know what's best for me, but I'm really the only one.
I have got to figure things out.
Chasing Maria Menounos is so new. Every Tuesday at 10, 9 Central, starting March 18, only on Oxygen.
Yes, great new show that's coming out on Oxygen March 18th. Definitely check it out because you're going to see AfterBuzz on one of those shows. So, you know, just keep it within the family. And also, if you please go on to iTunes and YouTube, just please rate, download, comment about this awesome Parenthood after show. Tell us what you love, tell us what you don't love, and tell us what you love about these Bravermans because we sure love this family and we keep coming back every week. Craziness I mean, this episode was pretty crazy with family. So, you know what? Let's talk about Sarah. Sarah and Max. Max was acting a little bit crazy tonight. What did you think of Max just barging into the Hank's studio and just demanding to be on the computer and using
Typical
that
Max.
print?
Max being Max.
Typical Max.
Yes,
it's
it was.
nothing new. I don't think Sarah is the best at handling those situations and the best parent. Even we were talking about the stoner segment of the episode a little bit earlier, and we'll jump into the dinner, but there's just this one part where they call out the two kids on being stoned, and the aunts and uncles are like, of course Sarah's kids would be the ones that are stoned at dinner. I thought that was funny.
Okay, you know what? I actually thought Sarah handled the situation for what it was very well, very adult, very responsible. Like, she was trying to be civil, be like, hey, I have this big project. I need this computer right now. And the way Max was acting up in his typical Max ways, but she handled the situations like, I will drive you home because right now I need to work on my project. And then Max goes running back home and Max just storms off. But again, it was Kristina that kind of turned it on Sarah, be like, she just dropped him off abruptly and I was expecting her to apologize, which I don't think so. I think Sarah, she handled it responsibly. I think had she been a little bit more responsible and actually talked to Kristina up front, being like, this is what Max did, instead of just walking away, being like, that's your problem now, Kristina, it's not mine, just dropping him off back at home, I think they would have been handled better had she done that.
I think that there's too many spoiled brat children in the world, and people do need to say no to their kids way more often. So the fact that Sarah was like, no, you can't do this right now, there's other people in the world besides you and you're not the center of attention, I think that was like a good,
could have
bold
potentially
parenting
ruined what she was doing. He just stuck his memory card in the thing, and it totally wiped out what she was working on.
Yeah, he's so rude, and the world revolves around him and his mind, and life's not like that. You're gonna have a tough reality break if you think it's like that when you're 14 years old.
I was surprised that Kristina was acting the way that she was. I thought Kristina would be a little bit more understanding instead of wanting to attack Sarah, basically.
You know what? I wasn't that surprised that Kristina would side with her child who's autistic. Yeah, so we got to always consider that, put that into consideration, because it is Max's tendencies to always just like overpower everything and just want to do what he wants and no one else. And then he said the line, "You're being so selfish," when clearly Sarah wasn't. She was being responsible. She has a job to do. She's on a deadline. But I think it was really simple or typical of Kristina to not understand the full picture, and I think Kristina is always on the defense for Max, and that's her thing, because people are going to be out for Max even if it is family, saying
Sarah has
it was
that
Max's
great
fault.
line too, where she's like, I finally have a place of business. You would think my family would respect that it's taken me this long and now I finally have a workspace. But way to go, Hank, for making her see the other side of the coin.
That was a surprising revelation. I mean, I didn't think of it like that, but I love how Hank brought that up, and he made us think about the other side. He was kind of the devil advocate.
He really sees the other side of the picture and relates to Max more than anyone else. I think he's always going to kind of side with Max in all the issues, because he is like, he realizes that Max is like a baby him, I think.
Yeah.
A miniature Hank.
Mini Hank.
Mini Hank.
Even down to getting in fights with Sarah.
Yep.
What do you guys think of Hank and Sarah's relationship right now?
Because
the preview for next week, I was like,
It's the whole season they've been setting it up like, oh, they should be together. They should
don't
not
like
be
them
together.
Yeah, I don't like them
want
together.
them to be together.
I think that it's like, I don't think they should be together, because we've already seen them together and that didn't really work out well. And then when it doesn't work out from the beginning, it's probably good chances it's not going to work out in the end. So I like the professional relationship together. They can actually be civil and work together and work on fun creative projects. I mean, Sarah's enjoying it. She's getting her work done. Hank's enjoying it because that's his career. And so I think they have a nice mutual relationship when it comes to business and professionalism.
I think that's where it should stay.
But will it last?
Probably
I don't know.
We'll see.
we shall see. but in the end of that, because it all leads up to this big fight that we'll also get to, but at the end, Sarah does realize if Max wants to use the printer, I will rent out the printer for another week. He can use it next week, but I can use it this week for my stuff. So I think that was good. Very adult move on Sarah's part, because in the end, Max is still a kid. He still has autism. You're still going to have to find that compromise with Max.
But I think that it's interesting that she had to pay extra money to rent that printer and assumingly the paper, the ink, all the other things, and Max is just using it anyway. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
Just for
Adam
free.
should have stepped in a little bit more than he did, but
Well, I don't think Sarah handled it well with Kristina and Adam.
right.
So
But
it was a
she-
gesture to kind of
Yeah,
make up
but
for it.
she tried to make up for it with renting the printer for another week, which I thought was, very adult-like.
And then
It
Max is like, "Oh, I'm all booked up next week. Sorry."
Well, Max still doesn't
Rude.
understand the
Exactly, but
yeah,
how
the
much-
seriousness of it.
Money that requires and how thoughtful that was.
Yeah, it was thoughtful, but it was really
more for the
Sarah
parents.
Sarah being the
Yeah.
adult in the situation, and
which I don't think she would have done if it wasn't for Hank.
Well,
So
especially because she called them out on never saying no to their kid. That was kind of like, you don't know how to be a
that was
parent.
big.
And then
Yeah.
they were like, well, you don't know how to be a
Then
parent
they
because your kids are
both-
stoners,
They all
butting
start
heads.
accusing each other's parenting style. That
yeah, and then that causes serious tension. I mean, I felt like they were right and wrong on some points. That yes,
time and
Adam,
place, people.
Yeah, that was wrong too. But like Adam and Kristina, because they have an autistic child, and I don't know what that's like. I mean, I can imagine that's difficult for parents who has to deal with that with their children who have autism. So I can't really speak on that behalf, but I know it's got to be difficult, and they do have to sometimes just give in to Max and just make him happy, even if it does affect other people. I mean, it's easier said than done, just saying no, but not with Max, who can't handle that. So and then
He'll
I can
crumble.
yeah, but then and then Adam just getting back at Sarah, being like, well, look at your kids, they're all adult and being stoned. Then how is that responsible parenting? So it was just like the little jabs at each other that
Adam
just
was kind of
happens.
thrown under the bus a couple times, though, going into how he became the replacement.
Yes, and
And
we'll
didn't
get
know.
Yes, so perfect segue. Jasmine's mom, sorry, I'm blanking on
Renee.
her name. Renee, thank you. Renee comes back and she's telling Jasmine and Crosby, oh, Aida needs a baptism because her soul is in danger. And very, very religious. I mean, nothing wrong with baptism. I'm baptized. So they want a baptism for Aida. And I can understand Jasmine and Crosby's hesitation not to have one, because we did have a episode previously earlier in this last season, or I think, or something, or 2 seasons ago, about religion and whatnot. That Crosby's not very religious, but Jasmine's family is, and Jasmine is. But they want a baptism for Aida, but at baptisms you need godparents to be present. I mean, are you guys godparents in any way?
No.
No.
No, people know way better than to put us in charge of their
ask
children.
Okay. Well,
Are you?
Yes, I only asked that
Are
because
you?
I
Aw.
am twice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for 2 different people. So I know what that's like to be asked by someone by 2 different people. So I feel honored, and then yes, I would be upset if they took that away from me. And Adam, so really Joel and Julia were the original godparents to Aida, but because they're separated now, they think it would be more fitting to have stable people to be the godparents. I mean, when it comes to religion, I can understand you want more stability in a kid's life like that. So Crosby makes the unfortunate decision to go to Joel, be like, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to revoke your godfather title. And Joel was very understanding.
Well,
I felt bad for
You could tell
him.
he was sad. You could
Yeah.
tell he was sad when he said, "No, I I don't need to be the godfather, but like you could just see that it was, he was watching pieces of this family that he had created with Julia go away. So I mean his heart was a little broken, and he even said it himself later on when he was like, this wasn't my fight. There's nothing I could do about it. I was asked to sit out. That has to hurt.
Yeah.
It does suck.
Do you think he was right? Because I feel like Joel, still being a godfather, that was his attachment, still another attachment to this family. But then when you cut that out, that's just another cut off from the Braverman family. That pushes him away a little bit more.
That happens though, like when families, parents break up, but then there's all the other people in the family that are connected, and they don't really think about that right away. And then once the breakup sets in, it's like, oh, there's a baptism, and it's not like weeks in advance, like, oh, maybe we'll work it out. It was like that Sunday, and that's another reason why he had to approach him, I think, and be like,
well,
sorry,
Renee really
it's
was
this
the
week.
one. Renee flat out said,
I think if it was
he's
like
got a
later
foot out the
on,
door.
he
He can't be godfather anymore. Which at that point, you just got to be like, look, Grandma,
calm down.
We're the parents of this kid. We'll take care of that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But Renee's the very religious, has to have it by the book kind of. We have to have stable parents, stable godparents, a stable family.
But the thing about, which I understand, but the thing about godparents is that if something happened to Jasmine and to Crosby, then Aida would go to the godparents and they would raise him. But that's two different families. Adam and, and Julia, I thought it was weird that Kristina wasn't like, why am I not godmother?
Yeah, I was expecting her to ask, like, why am I not the godmother when he was over there asking him? But luckily she didn't, because she was already pissed off enough in this episode. That would have been way worse. But I think it worked out fine in the end. I mean, it was hilarious at that dinner, though. They had this big family dinner. Also, Camille and Renee both wanted this brunch to be at their house. And
how'd you feel about them kind of butting heads?
They were kind of
Camille,
competitive.
I think it almost made her reevaluate the house. You could kind of see when they were like, well, you've got so much going on. You're selling the house. This isn't going to be the home base anymore. And then she was kind of like, wait a minute, so
no one comes to me anymore? I'm going to have to go visit all my kids at other places? There's no home base.
Yeah. And I think that was really, really smart of Crosby to kind of plant that seed a bit and be like, you know what, you kind of brought that on yourself, and Renee's going to take care of the brunch that they were going to have. And then you can see Camille get competitive, be like, well, if she's going to have brunch, I'm going to have dinner.
So
and then I will cook. I will cook for all of you. I love doing it, and I'm kind of offended that you didn't ask me first.
The dinner was
are
hilarious,
all about
though.
Compromises, almost to an absurd degree, though. Like, that's how they settle on the compromise. But then Sarah's like, this family, when she gets the notification, she's like, now there's a dinner. There's a brunch. There's the baptism. Now there's a dinner. Then there's going to be something else, because that's just what we do.
I thought it was going to be a way more dramatic dinner with Jasmine's whole family and all the Bravermans, but it ended up just being, the 4 older siblings arguing at the dinner table, and then Jasmine's whole family completely silent. By the way, that baby is not half black.
That is the whitest baby I have ever seen.
Baby Aida is the pastiest baby I've ever seen.
I've never seen a whiter baby.
Yeah,
baby.
It's a very, very white baby. I noticed that too. But the family dinner, not your typical Braverman dinner, because I feel like all the family dinners that we see, they're usually happy or they're talking about something serious. But this was so
just an anxious,
stressful, unconventional parenthood dinner. They're all fighting at each other like little kids.
It's like having the in-laws over, having Jasmine's family over was like an added stress upon all the other drama that was going on.
They were being really passive-aggressive, too, all the kids. Adam, well, I guess I'm just not a good parent because Sarah says I'm not. And Kristina's, look at her kids are stoned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just back and forth.
Yeah, all those digs that, let's see, Sarah's not married, so they didn't ask her to be a godmother. And then Joel and Julia aren't really together anymore, so she can't be, or like Joel can't be godparents. And then just the parenting problems, and being the runner-up. Poor Adam being the runner-up, the fill-in. That was like just
that
was
news
dig.
to Adam, but the biggest news was to Sarah that she's the only one after months of all the other kids knowing about the house.
Didn't know
This
at
is
all.
the first time Sarah finds out that they're selling the home that she lived in.
She started freaking out
just a few months
too.
prior, too. Yeah, she lived in the shed.
She lived there the most recently.
Yeah, technically Jasmine and Crosby were the last ones to live there.
Well,
but
they have their own home. They're just over
they weren't
there
living
for mold.
there.
I can understand Sarah's frustration that she was the last one to know.
Especially Sarah
when
doesn't
all
know how this is going to work out. She might have to move back with her family, Like, this is her first time really out on her own. Now she has nowhere to go.
Well, Sarah still has her apartment.
Yeah, but I'm saying if that doesn't work out, she's because she's doing that because she's the super. Mm-hmm. And then she just broke up with a tenant that she was sleeping with. That's probably not great.
Well, this is the year of the Sarah, so if that did happen, I feel like Sarah could still pick herself up and go to another place.
I hope so.
So I feel like she's more responsible and more stable
But
now.
she still had to have that panic of that. But
Oh,
what
yeah.
if something goes wrong? Where do I go?
Well, I'm glad that she had that panic because we saw the reactions from the other siblings when they found out individually now. So I thought it was cool how for this big storyline, all of them found out on their own instead of one sit down, like when parents sit down with their kids and to say something really important and stuff like that and discuss something like as big as selling their house. I thought it was interesting because they are all adults that they found out individually. Yeah.
Which normally would be good, but I think in this instance they needed to sit down because they forgot about Sarah.
So sad.
Yeah, poor Sarah. But and then during that whole big fight they realized Joel's not even there, and then because earlier in the episode we see Julia upset that Joel's not the godparent anymore, calls up Joel and says, "Hey, you're not even fighting for this. You're not fighting to be with me. You're not fighting to be part of this family. Then." Call me when you're ready to fight for us. And I can understand Julia's problem with that. I mean, I'm a godmother, but I'm not married. And I don't think you need to be married to be godparent. Obviously,
be there
I mean,
for the kid.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be there. But Julia, their names are so alike. Julia makes a big deal out of it, but makes good point that Joel just didn't really do anything. But again, he says it's not his fault, and it's not his fight. And Zeke realizes this whole thing, and has been and I loved how Zeke just does this. He goes to Joel's apartment, that sad, alone apartment, and just really reassures him, like, I gave you to Julia. I believed in you then, and I still believe in you now. And Zeke, what did you think Zeke got out of all people to do this?
Well, just that line when he's like, so, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
He just stops and he's like, come on, man. Like, look around you. What's going on?
Be a man.
And it's not until that moment, I think, that Joel really, that things really set in.
He needed someone to say that to him. What the hell are you doing?
And he
Look
needed
around you.
Zeke, I think, because Zeke is the perfect person. Because Crosby is like a little version of Zeke, I think. And, he's acted more like him, but he kind of did we want you to be a part of our family. We consider you as part of the family. I hope you work it out.
Well,
and
especially
that helped,
the whole wedding part where he was like, I walked
Zeke
you
came in.
down the aisle
that's
and
when-
approved of you to be my son and give my daughter off to you. And now you're doing this. Like, what the hell are you doing?
So now he's had two different members of her family approach him saying, hey, we want you to be part of the family. What are you doing?
Yeah, and I thought that was really good on Zeke. The oldest, wisest person to really bring his family even closer. And so we finally get to the baptism the next day, and everyone's there, happy in spirits. This is where everything fell apart at the family dinner, but everything's like coming back together at the baptism, which I liked how they tied that up. And then we actually see Joel come to Aida's baptism, and then we saw the quick little look at each other, Joel and Julia. They cross eyes and stuff like that. And what do you think? Do you think that was the moment where they want to really work together and work out their marriage?
I think because this show is so realistic, they don't really have that one epiphany moment that a lot of scripted drama has where they look into each other's eyes and they go, oh, none of our problems matter anymore. Like, this is still definitely going to be
More
a storyline that
realistic.
gets dragged out, that they really, approach from different angles. But I think that definitely was a big step of him showing, hey, I am willing to fight for us, at least in a way that I can.
Yeah, I felt it's like baby steps for Joel. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's showing an effort.
oh yeah, there's a big gap between them, but it's baby steps to get closer together, even if it is
Well, it lets
just showing up.
Julia know that he cares.
Yeah, at a point, he cares about the family. He cares about so by extension of the family, he cares about Julia, and poor the kids, Victor and Sydney. They're really getting affected by this, and I think in the previews we saw
Yeah,
this is
for
really going
next
to go down
week.
bad. Yeah,
Sydney's gonna
So
lose it.
sad.
yeah. But is there anything else of this awesome episode? I mean, it was really emotional. I mean, not like sad, but just like heavy, hard hitting. A
Intense.
lot of very intense.
That baptism scene was a beautiful scene, but there was just this one shot we noticed where Baby's got her whole hand up her nose.
They show
They
Kristina,
had
and
Christina.
she's holding little Nora, and you just see like her
Full
whole
nose
finger is
pick,
like gone.
digging for gold, and
And
it
I
was
think
like
nobody noticed because it
this
was such a good shot of
beautiful
Kristina.
of Monica Potter. Her hair looks fabulous, and she's just like looking great in this church. And then we're like,
Of course,
wait,
the only thing
the
I
baby.
see, I'm like, ooh,
We're like,
that
"Oh,
gross
what's going
baby.
on?"
The baby's so gross. Stop showing it. Go to anybody else. There's so many people in the family. Stop showing it.
Well,
I had to point that out though.
you
I
can't
couldn't
really
resist.
control babies like that. I mean,
I
I
just
can
thought it was funny
understand
they
that.
left the shot. Like, I
It
want
was
to know
just
if
such
they
a
noticed.
beautiful scene, and then we're like, oh,
Yeah, I was
Wow.
like, oh, come on, baby.
Yeah, so this episode was called Limbo, so I think everything between Joel and Julie is still in that state of limbo. We don't know if they're going to still get back together or not. So, but with that, let's go to predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, so we saw a few previews, and so there might be an actual buyer for the Braverman house, and it's an easy process apparently. And do you think Camille and Zeke will officially go through with it?
nope. I don't
hope
think they are.
don't. I hope they don't. I don't know.
I hope not too, because I think these past few episodes there were just like little things here that ties them still as a family. And Camille's like slowly realizing it, like with this dinner. She has to have a dinner to have the whole family together. In last week's episode, something happened and all of them are together. And I don't think Camille's going to go.
I don't
through
think
with
they're
it.
going to go through with it. I think they're going to almost sell it, and then something's going to happen, and she's going to have a gut feeling and be like, I can't do this.
Yeah, because where are they going to go? I just can't imagine any other place they could set up.
And like we
I
were
know.
saying, there would be no home base for the whole family to
Yeah.
get together. And this family is very close, and they love hanging out together. They're not going to all cram into one of the other kids' houses.
We don't call them Team Braverman for nothing.
Exactly.
They have to have, there can't be a team with no dugout.
It wouldn't be a Braverman without this beautiful, awesome home. I mean, that is the Braverman. It's a character in and of itself, and this is already the 17th episode of the season. They're still talking about it, and I just hope they wrap the story up pretty soon. And they might hopefully wrap it up with next week's episode. And so Joel and Julia, we still don't know where they're at, but the kids are affected. And Sydney, the little brat that she is, seems like she's blaming Victor. And that's when we've talked about. It was like Victor coming into the family, and then
And
like
that kind
everything
of
started.
broke up everything.
Well, we're not saying Victor is the problem, but that's when everything really just started
issues.
falling apart.
Well, the real issue was when she left her job. From that point forward, even before they even got Victor, there were issues.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like it's just Julia hasn't found her place with her not being a lawyer anymore. And it makes me so sad that they've even, you know, kind of hit that rough spot. But Zeke says it best, I think, when he says, you hit a rough spot, you can't just give up. So.
Poor little Victor. He can't feel like he's to blame for all the family crumbling down.
No, poor Victor. And then, you know, we didn't hear anything about this charter school with Kristina. And so hopefully maybe they'll pick that storyline back up for next week. But in the meantime, and you know, of course, we don't know what's going to happen with Sarah and Hank. Their relationship is...
In the preview, it looks like they rekindled their romance a little, which I'm not rooting for.
They start to, yeah. And then Hank's kind
As
of like,
friends.
what's it going to be? I can't always be here for you.
It's gonna get him. I feel like next week might get really, really emotional.
I just really like the Sarah love triangle episode, so I'm excited about next week.
It's always interesting. But yeah, so in the meantime, where can we all follow you, Danica?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Danica Kennedy.
And Elena?
You can follow me on Twitter at Elena Jordan. And if you're in Los Angeles, check me out March 22nd. I'll be performing at the Comedy Store on Sunset Strip.
Awesome. And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV. You can follow all of us here at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that fun jazz at AfterBuzz TV. Definitely check out Maria Menounos' Chasing Maria Menounos' reality show airs March 18th. You'll see some familiar faces, and definitely check it out. It looks like a really, really good show. I'm excited to see it, as I think all of us are. And you know what? We will see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.